2 afros on stage within the same hour. That's rare. I'm here to talk about the Rap Research Lab. It's a space that I started in the Bronx, where I teach teens data visualization, data research, cultural research, critical thinking, all using a project-based curriculum that visualizes hip-hop as a cultural indicator. So the main tool we use is a system that I created that analyzes the language in hip-hop. It was a big update recently. There's 200,000 songs, 30,000 artists, about 60,000 albums. And in that analysis that populates the database, we have artist name, song title, album title, geolocation, release date, kind of like the metadata. Then in terms of syntax, we have word count, reading levels, rhyme density, the amount of perfect rhymes. And in terms of semantics, we have the sentiment, so whether or not a song is negative, positive, or neutral. We have keywords, main keywords that rappers rap about, main people that rappers rap about, and main places that rappers rap about. This is what the analysis looks like. So this is a semantic analysis of Drake's entire music career. So you can see some of the words that he uses, some of the people that he talks about, some of the places he references a lot in his work, and whether or not the song is negative, positive, neutral, and all of this data is put in the database. So what we're teaching kids is so this is the spreadsheet of Drake's analysis after that was done. So what we're teaching kids is, one, to come up with research ideas, teaching them how to ask questions, and then how to search for data, collect data, edit data, clean up data, and then visualize the data and tell a story. This is location data for Kanye West. So what we have with all this data in hip-hop is a new context for hip-hop. We have content, we have location, and we have time. So basically for every utterance in hip-hop, there's a time and a place on earth for it. So you can do a search for cookies and find out every rapper that rapped about cookies, where they rapped about cookies on the planet, and the context in which they rapped about cookies. But spreadsheets are boring, right? And we don't really understand sheets of data. Like, as humans, we understand images. So another part of the Rap Research Lab is to empower students to be able to tell stories with their data. And one story I told with the location data was to extract the location data for 12 rappers, and from their first song to their last song, so the places they rapped about: Chicago, New York, Paris, France, Brazil, and send these coordinates to a robot arm and have the robot arm trace these coordinates around the globe. So what you're seeing here is this process done for Kanye West's career. And this is the end result. And the project is called Maximum Distance, Minimum Displacement, which is a concept we also teach. The idea of traveling far and wide, covering lots of distance, but coming back to the same place. This is a sculpture, 3D sculpture I've made of the same data. And this is this whole suite of artists that I analyze, and I give this data to the students to work on themselves. So another concept we teach through this project is mapping the geography of language in hip hop. So you can trace slang, from E40 in Vallejo to Brooklyn. You could trace his slang over the years. And this is my first cohort. I started in the Bronx at the Andrew Friedman House. Now we are centered at I-Beam in Sunset Park. And this is a network graph that I'm actually currently creating lessons for. So a network graph, how are networks connected? How are, in this case, it's called Picasso Baby. So this is a list of all the rappers that rhyme about contemporary artists, painters. So these are all the mentions of contemporary and modern painters in rap. So, yeah, so it teaches networks, how networks are formed, how networks are connected. It teaches the influence, like the recent focus on modern art and rap, and what that means for modern art and what that means for rap. I have so much to say, but I'm going to move on. And all of the work is kept on the student research Tumblr. So they collect their research, books that they've read, articles they've read, videos, YouTubes that they've read that influence their research, and they post it to the site. And they also post their finished projects. So the question is why, right? Why do this? Many reasons. One is there's media criticism embedded in this project. So a different thing happens when you read hip hop as opposed to dancing to hip hop. A lot of claims seem really silly when you read hip hop. Someone's talking about all of these things they're doing. It's kind of like, are you really doing that? Can one person really do that? So it kind of defangs, that influence of hip hop on the teens. Another reason for doing it, it also demystifies data. So when the teens are collecting their own data and cleaning up their own data, they're faced with their own bias. Certain things they delete, certain things they don't feel like they want to add, so that in itself is data bias. And the same bias is evident in data that is collected on us. So it kind of demystifies that process also. And this is one student's project, Gabriel Willoughby, where he set out to research the usage of the N-word in all of hip hop, and then quickly realized that it was too much data. And we had a conversation about that, right? Why do almost half of the songs in hip hop use the N-word? So what he did was pared down the project. He got a list from this book from Jupiter Jive, where it described 8 different types of N-word. And he used YG's data set, who is an artist who used the N-word, I think 158 times in one song, to give context to his entire career. The last project I'm going to show is Emmanuel's project. And he basically did a search for crimes in the rap lyrics and then compared those with actual crimes reported in the country from 1989 to 2009. And there aren't many places where they coincide. So, and a lot of times when rap is talking about a lot of crime, actual crime rates in the country are going down. So we have a conversation about that also. So yeah, those are some of the projects that we work on at the Rap Research Lab. Thank you.
Right. What's the world coming to? You know it's a big job we must do.
The N-word. It's not only in hip hop, but August Wilson used the N-word a lot. Can you talked about defanging hip hop. Can you spend a little time talking about why it's important? Like, why is this important for young people to defang hip hop? Why is it important?
Hip hop is, I would say, the most influential youth art form in the world. It taught me when I was young. It's a pedagogical tool. It taught me how to, taught me about romance. It taught me about conflict resolution, asset acquisition. So.
What else? Just keep going. Conflict resolution, asset acquisition.
Life. So, but that time, I think there was more of a connection between reality and the content. But I think post 50 Cent, I think we are in a post keep it real, post reality moment in hip hop where things aren't really tied to reality. And that could be a dangerous thing, because the things that are said and represented in hip hop are hyper everything, hyper masculine, hyper everything. So being able to read and content code the lyrics allows us to have conversations about the reality or lack of reality in the lyrics.
I want to ask you more questions, but they're making us get off stage. So.
Okay.
We'll be back.